I find that people who tend to kind of go into these very fast-paced industries are very accustomed to a particular tempo in the way that they work.
Mhm.
And so oftentimes that tempo in the way that they approach work can often become part of their identity, right? So there's this concept of as it relates to like a hamster on a wheel, right? And so what will ultimately happen over time is that sometimes that the hamster can become somewhat addicted to the wheel and the movement that that wheel kind of creates for them. And so in similar fashion, I oftentimes see people become somewhat addicted to the tempo and the way that they work. So even in periods of slowness, even when they are anticipated periods of slowness, in terms of the cyclical nature of whatever industry they're in, it still creates a level of like anxiety and worry and distress for them even when their body is basically showing them the cues that it needs rest. And I think it's important to really, one, normalize the cyclical nature of whatever industry that you are in.
Mhm.
Like for me, as a mental health therapist, for me, I have noticed an increase in referrals tend to happen right before the holidays when
Mhm.
people are about to, have to go visit, family for Thanksgiving or like have to contend with either periods of loss or conflict. And that's when, for me, typically there's a surge of, um, of referrals that I'll get. But sometimes during the summer, there's usually a little bit of a dip because people are traveling and they're like, no, I'm feeling good. I don't necessarily feel the need to continue in therapy. So even in an industry like mine, there are still those cyclical natures. And I think it's important to really normalize that as part of life.
Yeah.
And two, really recognize and optimize that time. Right. So I love the idea of using that time to maybe plan more vacations or kind of tighten up different processes or different areas within the scope of your work that you maybe don't necessarily have time to really address when you're actively working on a project, but could ultimately really set you up effectively for when you're in that work.